Welcome to the Courthouse Bay Chapel weekly recap. My name is Chris. I'm an active duty Navy chaplain assigned to the Marine Corps Engineer School, and I oversee the chapel out at Courthouse Bay. And every week we've been working our way through the Gospel of Mark. And so here's what we talked about today. Coming from Mark chapter 9 is the Transfiguration of Jesus. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him and led them up a high mountain where they were all alone. There he was transfigured before them. His clothes became dazzling white, whiter than anyone in the world could bleach them. And there appeared before them Elijah and Moses, who were talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what to say. They were so frightened. Then a cloud appeared and enveloped them. And a voice came from the cloud, "This is my son whom I love. Listen to him." Suddenly, when they looked around, they no longer saw anyone with them except Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus gave them orders not to tell anyone what they had seen until the Son of Man had risen from the dead. And here are the couple things that I want you to pick up on today. The first is that we see the glory of God revealed in Jesus. And the transfiguration moment is really not something that sits right with a lot of us. We're not used to that. We're not accustomed to this kind of divine vision that Peter, James, and John had of Jesus. And I think one of the nearest things that we can get in our culture of seeing this kind of vision comes from Star Wars, right? We see the Force ghosts of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin and Yoda interacting with people who are still alive. And in our culture and our society, we like science and facts. And so this idea of the spiritual world interacting with the physical world feels odd. But here's the good news. It felt odd for Peter, James, and John also, right? The text says that they were terrified. And Peter didn't even know what to do. He says, "Hey, let's put up some tents for everybody, because I don't know what else to do." But ultimately what we see here is that God is being glorified and Jesus' divinity is coming through at this moment. And the fact that it's Moses and Elijah is proving the point that all of the old law and prophets are pointing to Jesus. Everything that God has been doing through human history is leading up to this moment where Jesus is revealed as God in the flesh. And it really harkens back in Deuteronomy chapter 18. Moses prophesies about a coming prophet. And he writes, Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own brothers. You must listen to him." Now that's what Moses writes way back in Deuteronomy. So here in Mark chapter 9, at the moment where Jesus is transfigured and the voice of God the Father comes through the cloud, God says, "Listen to him." It's reflecting back the prophecy from Deuteronomy where Moses is telling the people, one will come, listen to him. And it really makes us stop and ask, are we being intentional in listening to Jesus? Are we going through our lives paying attention to the commands of Christ? You see, Christ wasn't just a good dude. He wasn't just a moral teacher who has some neat ideas that we might take into consideration. See, Scripture is clear about the divinity of Christ. And if you don't believe, that's okay, right? Belief comes from here, and it's not something that I can prove to you. I can talk to you about my faith and my belief, but if you're not a believer, that's okay. There's no judgment here, right? We all come to our own spirituality from a different place. But for those of us who do believe Scripture, who do follow Christ, there is this idea, this understanding that Jesus is God incarnate, God in the flesh. And at this transfiguration moment, we see the glory of Christ revealed, come shining through. And the Father comes down and says, "Listen." It's a command. It's not a suggestion. So we really have to ask ourselves, are we able to recognize the glory of God coming through Jesus? And then are we willing to obey the command to listen? Not just a suggestion, but are we willing to make sure that our walk matches up with his walk? Jesus talks a lot about what it looks like to be a believer. the kind of behavior that ought to come from us. And if you ever have a chance, you should go through the Sermon on the Mount and see what the ethics of Jesus look like. He calls us to walk in a way that is unlike anybody else. So my encouragement and my challenge to you is this: do you recognize the glory of Christ? And are you willing to walk the path that He has laid before you? I think you can do it. And it's not an easy path, but it is one that is worthwhile that He has called us to walk as we follow after Him. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time.